Chainsaw Man. The anime is over, but the manga is still ongoing. Well, actually, the anime isn't over technically, but what's aired out is already over. The manga, I haven't read in about 2 months because it only comes out every 2 weeks, and I just kind of forgot about it. And I just recently went back to it and read like the last 10 chapters of it. Between the War Devil, Mitaka, Denji, and the Famine Devil being announced was in the last like 5-7 chapters. It's been a really fun read, to be honest. At first, part 2 kind of seemed a little boring to me because it kind of seemed repetitive of part 1. So I didn't think I would actually like continue reading it, but I'm happy I did. I like the way Mitaka and the War Devil were getting to know each other more. I like Denji's style. He's still the same Denji, still kind of full of shit. And does a bunch of like shady shit and doesn't really care. It's not really responsible. But there are parts that when you read, you hear his maturity coming in as he's gotten older and doesn't want to repeat the past. Especially for someone that didn't grow up with any guidance. It's cool to see him change. So in the recent chapters, the relationship between Mitaka and the War Devil was really interesting because they start to like talk to each other more. They start to get to know each other more. They get into fighting other devils kind of together, like we see against the Justice Devil when Mitaka tells the War Devil to let her go, mentally basically, like give her back power over her body. And that's when she turns her clothes into a big sword, attacks the Justice Devil. It breaks, so they think she's weak, and then on nowhere the Justice Devil falls into pieces. So this is where the War Devil realizes Mitaka has a good ability that she wants to exploit in order to kill Chainsaw Man, and they come to a consensus that they both want to do that as well because Mitaka hates Chainsaw Man as well. So later on, as that chapter goes on, after killing the Justice Devil, even though they didn't kill it, this is where the Famine Devil actually gets introduced and asks her if she wants to save the Justice Devil because the Justice Devil did a contract with her friend. And basically a whole big action scene pops out. But later on, as the story progresses, the manga progresses, Mitaka and the War Devil are talking, and they're looking down at other people, thinking of who she should kill in order to make a more powerful weapon because they know that she has the ability that's even better than when the War Devil uses it. So she's thinking, I want to kill someone evil, criminal, it'll be easier on her conscience, basically. But then she kind of questions if she even has the right to do that. Then she thinks of somebody innocent, definitely not. And she kind of comes to a conclusion of somebody in the middle, somebody that's not really bad or good, but just like is neutral. And that's when she sees Denji. She recognizes Denji because they talked before, and she told him that he was full of shit because he said he was Chainsaw Man, and she doesn't really like him because of the way he is. No one really likes Denji a lot because of the way he is, but she sees him picking up some cigarettes from the ground, and I honestly thought that was kind of funny because I thought it was really weird of Denji to be picking up trash, doing like a good deed, and she kind of saw that too. And it's funny how her reaction was the same. She was surprised to see someone like him doing something good, and so she follows him to get to see what he's up to, what more good deeds will he do. But then she sees that he starts to break up the cigarette butts to make even bigger cigarettes, and he goes and sells them to homeless people. So it's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's evil or he should die for it, but it's definitely funny that that's exactly what we would expect of Denji, to do some random ass shady shit like that, So she kind of hates him even more for that and kind of decides he's the perfect candidate to turn into a weapon and kill. But one of the prerequisites in order to have a strong weapon, from what they figured out, was that she has to have a strong emotional attachment to whatever she turns into a weapon, like her clothing that her mother gave her before she passed away. So the plan between the War Devil and Mitaka is to make Denji fall in love with her. So eventually she goes to Denji and they decide to go on a date. They go on the date. Denji's like, hell yeah, fuck yeah, whatever. They end up getting stuck in an aquarium because the Famine Devil's there and that she's trying to help her out. And I thought this was a really funny chapter because we see how Mitaka's not really that smart of a character, or I guess you could say that mature in general, because her idea of making Denji fall in love with her, despite her being extremely confident before, was to basically wow him with a bunch of boring facts about aquatic animals and what they are and how they live. And she's basically just getting him a lecture at that point, and then she's not liking it and she tells him to shut up, and she thinks that will get him to like her. And eventually he walks off and the Famine Devil comes in and they're stuck, and it was really similar to when they fought the Eternity Devil. And at the end, they get out of it. I'm not even too sure if it really was the Eternity Devil because of the way it looked. It looked a little different than when we saw the Eternity Devil in part 1. But regardless, they kill it. It's over. They get back to Mitaka's home, and this is where she tries to turn him into a weapon. And it doesn't work, and she repeats herself, and Denji thinks he's just weird, and he just kind of rubs it off. He doesn't really think twice about it. He's seen so much weird shit in their world, so he's just like, he does the same thing back to her, thinking it's just a weird way to say goodbye. But even though he didn't turn into a weapon, their idea isn't that he's a demon or a devil. It's that he just doesn't like her, and that's why it didn't work. So she starts to get mad and hates him, and the story goes on. So it's a lot of action so far that we're seeing, a lot of talking between all three of Denji, Mitaka, and then the War Devil on the side. The Famine Devil's around just staring. One of Denji's higher ups that watch over him. Kind of reminds me of Aki in a way. Is always around in the corner hiding, making sure Denji doesn't do no dumb shit, like reveal his identity. And so eventually they go on a second date, right? And this is where I thought was really interesting, how she decides to go back to Denji's home, and Denji gives her all these rules of what she can and can't do. And it's like basic shit. It's, you know, don't go into my fridge, don't open any other door other than his in the apartment complex he lives in. And the third one is, do not kiss him in front of Nayuta. I thought this was a really weird one. I thought it was interesting because the control devil in her past life, when it was Makima, liked Denji. And so is it weird that maybe that crossed over into the new body of the new devil? I don't know. I don't know if that's what he meant by it. I'm not too sure. All I know is that the war devil took that personally and took over Mitaka's body and ended up doing that. And then, you know, as you would expect, the door opens and Nayuta's right there, calls her a thief, and boom, it's a cliffhanger, and seems to like have some chains come out of her into Mitaka's body. Really exciting stuff. I'm really enjoying it. It's really cool. You're seeing a lot of new devils being introduced. You're seeing a lot of backstory. I'm not too sure what's gonna happen. Mitaka's way of being is really similar to Power almost, where she's almost like clueless to a lot of the things she does, and she thinks she's really smart and likable, and that's why Denji, I think, kind of likes her. He sees a little bit of power in her. I'm not too sure where the story's gonna head with this. I'm not too sure what the author plans on doing with this. I do think we'll see Power again. I don't know if she's actually dead or gone, because we saw her powers of where she can come back even with a little bit of her blood like she did in the past. I'm not too sure. It's a lot of trippy ass shit. Sucks that we gotta wait 2 weeks for the next chapter to see what happens, to see how Nayuta reacts to the whole situation, but I think it's gonna be really fun to watch. I think everybody's gonna really like the next chapter. It's one of those cliffhanger chapters. And well, yeah, that's about it. That's all I really want to talk about it, and I guess I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.